Perlas de la Noche. Palabras con imagen. El análisis de los acontecimientos que influyen en nuestra vida con el periodista Francisco Durán Rosillo.
Frank Durán Rosillo te saluda y los saluda a todos ustedes, su amiga María Celeste Raraz, para invitarlos a que se suscriban a mi canal de YouTube, María Celeste Raraz, tal como mi nombre, donde les informo todas las semanas sobre entrevistas que tienen un tema que ayuda a mejorarnos como personas y de paso son interesantes. Las pueden encontrar en mi canal de YouTube, así que los espero. Y se suscriben gratis.
Yo creo que el presidente representa el pasado. Sí, todavía no se conocía todo lo que se conoce ahora. Yo creo que solito se les está cayendo, ¿no? Se les cayó el teatro desde hace mucho rato, ¿no? Y que la cuarta transformación y lo que representa nuestro movimiento fortalece a la oposición, la verdad. Estamos arriba en las encuestas porque hay mano negra. No digo que no sirva que haya ese delito. Finalmente estás buscando ganar una encuesta.
Sí, como si no nos llevando por ahí, dale ya, dale, pega por arriba. Pero a ver, ¿para dónde gana? Adentro, adentro.
Ahí van pasando los güeyes, son los gallos, Diego.
Ahí te van cando, y te va para allá, la caravanita y te va para allá. No, la ciudad.
Son los gallos, mira, aquí están pasando.
Tú, para que no te enamoras, reporten cuando ya te va para arriba. Ahí te van por aquí para arriba. Sí, la estoy esperando,
Gracias, Juan. Pura gente de gallo, los putos eran ratos, les vamos a dar en su puta madre, güey. Ahí está el coronel, ahí nomás, mira, el coronel ahí bien pilas, ahí espera. Tostonan las veres ahí. Aquí estamos bien acomodados, pero pues, ahí estamos.
Hola amigos, los que se enriquecen de la 4T viven como reyes en otros países y se burlan en sus redes sociales, demostrando su alegría, como van a ver en el video que puso el señor Ricardo Salinas Pliego. ¿A quién le importa? Él gana mucho dinero y no paga impuestos al gobierno. Es triste y es lamentable, porque eso es lo que está generando la presente dictadura. No es administración, alguien que se ha robado todo el dinero y todo ha sido desfalcos, obras en mal estado, fracasos. Eso no se le puede llamar administración. Además, como escucharon en el audio de Claudia Sheinbaum, ella misma dice que el presidente López falló y que la gente se está dando cuenta. Y esto lo hace Claudia Sheinbaum como justificación para ella zafarse un poco del apadrinamiento del dictador y decir a la gente, bueno, yo soy una candidata auténtica. La voz la pusimos en un sistema de voice recognition que compara las voces con la voz auténtica y aparentemente sí es la señora Claudia Sheinbaum. Ahora, ¿qué intentó con esto? Bueno, alguien la grabó en esa conversación telefónica y es problema de ella, de nadie más. Ahora, lo que se ve venir, pues es ya lo que todos esperamos. En el video que ven, que grabaron militares viendo a los miembros de un cartel pasar en sus camionetas a tomar otro territorio, los soldados permanecen ajenos a la escena. No quieren involucrarse, ni los detuvieron, los dejaron pasar y los dejaron llegar. Hubo gente de la audiencia que me mandó mensajes, no voy a decir nombres ni lugares, pero hace algunos días en una población mediana se escucharon ráfagas de balazos como un atentado. Los vecinos reportaron el caso a la zona militar, a la Guardia Nacional, a la Policía Municipal. Nadie fue a ver o a tratar de parar esa balacera o a tratar de detener a los autores. Esa es la escena que quiere manejar López y Claudia Sheinbaum para nuestro amado México. ¿Y todo por qué? Porque les interesa promover un régimen de intimidación y muerte, porque ellos saben que solo así, teniendo a la gente asustada, ellos van a poder manipular el voto. Y es muy triste, como en el siguiente video, el congresista por El Paso, Texas, Ted Cruz, denuncia públicamente que Biden protege a los carteles mexicanos, básicamente en pocas palabras. El video está traducido. Véalo usted y juzgue por sí mismo. Pero este senador no anda errado de lo que pasa en la situación de la frontera México-Estados Unidos, cuyo nuevo propuesta fue nuevamente bloqueada por los republicanos. Así es que no va a haber plan fronterizo con dinero para que los migrantes traigan una tarjeta de débito por $2,000 para que compren sus enseres, renten un apartamento, vaya usted a saber. Pero no. Ahora, en el último video, y que a lo mejor se los pongo ya aquí adelante, un alcalde de Colorado, de una ciudad santuario, puso el grito en el cielo y dijo: no, ya no podemos con más migrantes. Paren esas caravanas, cierren la frontera porque ya los vecinos están que no pueden. Las calles están sucias, subió la criminalidad y no le vamos a quitar presupuesto a las escuelas ni a otras cosas para que una serie de desconocidos que no sabemos ni quiénes son coman 3 veces al día, vivan como reyes sin pagar renta en un hotel o en donde los asignen. No. Vamos a ver el video porque ya son varias las ciudades en esta situación. La semana pasada les puse una protesta de gente de Nueva York. Ahora le toca a Colorado. Veamos. Y sí, aquí van a ver las tristes imágenes de la ciudad de Denver, Colorado, en la que ya pues los migrantes se han apoderado de las calles, los vecinos, el tráfico, todos están molestos y el alcalde de la municipalidad dijo: ya, enough is enough, hasta aquí, y ya esto es una crisis, ya no quieren más migrantes y pues vamos a ver.
Migrant surge.
That's where we find Lawrence Jones, who got an exclusive interview with the Democrat mayor. Hi, Lawrence.
Hey, good morning, family. Sorry, just having a little. Hey, guys, sorry about that. Having some technical issues, but we're good. I had the opportunity. You know, we've been reaching out to Democratic mayors, sanctuary cities, asking them for a while. Make the case. Why are you a sanctuary city? Why are you doing this? What is the impact on your city? Finally, the mayor of Denver agreed to do an interview with us, and this is what he had to say. Watch. So, Mr. Mayor, you got a tough challenge now. You got 40,000 migrants. That's the highest per capita for any city in the country.
Yes.
At what point does your city reach its breaking point?
Yeah, I think our city is very close to its breaking point now, and we've been talking to leaders in D.C. around the country about why we need to take action here. I think we have successfully welcomed almost 40,000 migrants in the last year, and we know what it takes to do this successfully. We just need that help, and the things we need are, yes, we need federal dollars, but the most important thing is we need work out for folks when they arrive, and we need those resources at the border so you can add more security at the border and so you can help process those asylum claims so the folks that do arrive here can work. The challenge we have is you have someone that'll arrive in Denver who's been admitted on an asylum claim, but their court date for their asylum is 6 away, and they're in Denver for 6 years without an ability to work and support themselves, and that means we have to support them, and that's not what they want to do or what we want them to do.
Let's talk about that work authorization. Are you concerned that passing something like this will only incentivize more people to come across the border to take that route?
This is why I think you do have to do both parts together. You do have to decide on a border admissions policy, and you got to enforce that policy. And I do think part of what's in this proposal is a path to both manage that entry at the border in a way that we can maintain.
Mr. Mayor, what about the folks that can't work? They're not allowed legally to work.
Well, I've heard from those folks I talked to is like the woman who came a couple weeks ago. She was a police officer in Venezuela. She was at her government to tear gas a room full of children and elderly people. She said no, went home and the military police showed up at her house to murder her and her family. She got her kids and walked 3,000 miles to Colorado. I would love nothing more than to hire a Latina, female, bilingual, Spanish-speaking police officer here in the city.
I don't doubt that story at all, because there's a lot of people that may qualify for asylum with that.
Well, I mean, this is why we are pushing so hard for a federal solution.
I've been back and forth to Denver, and your folks are very compassionate, nice people, always very welcoming. But I don't think I've ever witnessed them so outraged right now. And I don't think it has anything to do with being anti-migrant. They just feel like the priorities where the migrants are being prioritized over them. I was looking at the numbers with the healthcare system. You got 8,000 migrants that are using ER emergency services, and they visited 20,000 times. And residents are saying they're being turned away.
We have both a humanitarian crisis here, and now we have a fiscal crisis, which is we are a welcoming city, and also we don't want to cut core city services. But right now we're in this dilemma where we can't get any help from the federal government on work authorization or on controlling entry or on the ability to actually provide resources to cities.
So February 5th is the day, unless you and council extends it, where it looks like you guys are going to cut off. There's going to be a cap of the migrants that are going to be able to use the facilities. What's going to happen then when they're not able to be sheltered? They're going to be on the street, I'm assuming. And are you concerned about that?
We've always had a length of stay policy here, which was generally individual adults could stay for 14 days and families could stay for 37 days. We paused it for about 4 to 6 weeks during very, very cold times in November and December. Every hotel room we have in the city of Denver is full. We're at 5,000 people in shelter, and we have more coming every day. And so we have to reactivate the policy we've always had, which is you can come and stay for a length of time, but it can't be forever.
Do you believe that some people on your side of the aisle, and maybe you included because you're in support of sanctuary cities, share some responsibility in this crisis? Because people came by invitation.
I think it's clear we have a broken immigration system, and I think both parties for 40 years own that because we failed to come up with a solution on that.
You've been a little critical of Governor Greg Abbott and him busing the migrants here. But it seemed like as someone that's been covering the border for years, there was no attention on the crisis until he started to ship migrants to other cities. And then suddenly it became a national emergency.
I do understand why he's busing them. I think his take is that no one state should have to carry the entire weight of this newcomer population.
Do you agree with that?
I think no one state should and no one city should. I think that's the same way we've approached it. I think he's mostly sending people to 3 cities, to New York and to Denver and to Chicago. And I think in the same way that no one state should carry it, by no 3 cities should also carry it.
I know you met with Alejandro Mayorkas on the 18th, the Homeland Security Secretary. He's being impeached now. The articles have been written. How do you feel about that? Do you believe that he holds some type of responsibility in what's happening at the border?
I think he understands the crisis. He's met with me multiple times, and I think he's laid out the path that we need here, which is he knows the problem. That he's the one who said we need more security at the border, we need more people, we need the ability to process these claims quickly and decide who stays.
He said that they have control of it, though, that they have operational control of the border.
We're seeing the largest global migration in history right now from both South America and other parts of the world, and that this is not just a United States phenomenon. But I do think that this is why he's clearly saying I need more resources at the border, and there are folks on our side that won't like the fact that a lot of these dollars are going to go to enforcement at the border. I think this is where you expect people to meet each other halfway, and for centrist Republicans and leaders in that party to say, yeah, I might not like 100% of it, but what I do want is a plan to control entry, to get people work authorization, to provide the resources to these cities and states that are struggling, and to move the country forward. I think there is a path here, and I think Mayorkas is pushing for it, and I think folks like Senator Cornyn and Senator Langford are working hard to get to that deal.
So, Steve, he didn't say he regretted his decision of being, a sanctuary city, but he did say he now understands why Governor Greg Abbott did what he did, and he says that no state should share that burden. We're going to end our tour in Boston tomorrow. We'll extend the same invitation that we did to all the mayors. Michelle Wu, the mayor of Boston, we hope that she talks with us. We would love to hear her voice on what her residents are experiencing in Boston. I'll send it over to you, Steve.
Esta crisis migrante a lo largo y ancho de la Unión Americana. Regresamos a la cámara en el estudio. Permítame un segundo, que esto a veces se traba un poquito. Pero esa es la situación que prevalece en la frontera. Ya regresamos. Prevalece en la frontera y no hay una solución tangible. Todo ha sido política y este periodista de Fox News anda recorriendo donde se ha acumulado una gran masa migrante. Y así es la situación esta noche, esta madrugada, en Estados Unidos. No se llegó a un acuerdo entre demócratas y republicanos. Y yo siento que los republicanos están esperando al llamado de Donald Trump, que les dijo, no caigan en el error de aceptar una ley, porque el hecho de hacer esta iniciativa forzaría a Trump a respetarla 3 años y eso opacaría el gobierno de Trump. Entonces todos están de acuerdo con él en que si él gana el retorno a la Casa Blanca, él cierra la frontera para todas las caravanas migrantes, para todos los narcos, y tiene una estrategia militar, y Donald Trump está muy apoyado por el Pentágono y los cuerpos de policía, y como les presenté en el programa, veteranos de guerra están ya llegando a la frontera para ayudar a parar esta situación que está fuera de control. Les seguiré informando. Gracias, buenas noches, buenos días. Vean los demás videos porque son muy interesantes. Nos vemos y nos escuchamos mañana. Hasta entonces. Gracias.
Reaction, Texas Senator Ted Cruz. Senator, I saw your comments about Mitch McConnell. Rightly, I think you're very angry with him. Rand Paul, did you hear the same thing he heard, that he didn't want people like me getting the information about the bill? Did you hear that?
I did, and this whole thing has been a disaster from the very beginning. It's been a disaster on policy, and it's been a disaster on politics. On policy, this bill is terrible. It is an absolute, it is a bill that Chuck Schumer wanted that is designed not to secure the border. Not just not to secure the border, it's designed to make it worse. So this bill, as you noted, it codifies Joe Biden's open borders. Catch and release, the cause of this crisis, it codifies catch and release. It puts it into the law. Not only that, it normalizes 5,000 illegal immigrants a day. That works out to 1.8 million a year. That works out to about 6 million illegal immigrants over the 3 years of Biden. We have in fact seen 9.6 million illegal immigrants. So the idiotic Republican proposal was, let's be for 2/3 of the border invasion that Biden has allowed. That made no sense. Not only did it put it into law, 1.8 million every year in perpetuity, but it also put into law giving those illegal immigrants work permits, giving them lawyers paid for by the taxpayers. It gave billions of dollars to sanctuary cities to keep their policies going, and it gave billions of dollars to left-wing nonprofit organizations that are bringing the illegal immigrants in, so it funds the process. And I'll tell you the provision that, just as a Texan, that pissed me off the most. It went directly after the state of Texas, and it said any litigation filed challenging this law has to be filed in Washington, D.C. in federal district court. So Texas can't sue in the federal courts in Texas, where Texas has been winning. Instead, they got to go to Washington with the very liberal judges. This was a disaster on policy grounds because it did not solve the problem. But politically, it was even worse. Who won in this battle? And his name is Charles Schumer. Chuck Schumer did this. He knew it would fail. He wanted it to fail. But the purpose of this bill was to let every Democrat running for the Senate and running for the House to stand up and say, self-righteously, I wanted to secure the border. I really wanted to, but those mean Republicans wouldn't let me. And I got to say, Senate Republican leadership, I told them this months ago. Other conservatives told them this months ago, and they proceeded down this path that ended up, it was a box canyon with a kamikaze pilot crashing into a wall. It was a disaster, and it was entirely avoidable because what happened is Republican leadership ended up benefiting Chuck Schumer and the Democrats and doing nothing to secure the border.
The amazing part about all of this, Senator, is there is no need for Biden to get legislation from anybody. He through just the stroke of the pen, as I've been pointing out, put back in place the policies that were successful. Here's one interesting thing I noted in your home state of Texas. 99.99% of illegal immigration in Eagle Pass, where you put up the razor wire, it is ended. It shows that barriers work. And now they've moved to California and Arizona. And if Texas can build out more razor wire, I say they should continue doing what they're doing because it worked.
Texas is going to continue leading the fight, and we've got to. This crisis, it is massive, it is devastating, and we've got to lead the fight. And you know what Joe Biden is doing? Joe Biden is siding with the Mexican drug cartels against the American people. I got to say, the image of just a few days ago of those 6 illegal aliens who beat up 2 New York police officers, it was disgusting, and they got arrested. And of course, what happens? They get released from jail with no bail. And what do? Walking out They flipped the bird on both hands, walking out. That image, Sean, is the image of this campaign in 2024. That image, flipping the bird, is what Joe Biden and the Democrats in the Senate are saying to every American. They stand with the drug cartels, the human traffickers, the illegal immigrants, the criminals, and they stand against law enforcement, and they stand against American families. That's the message of this radical policy, and we got to stand up and fight against it.
272 days is an election, Senator. Your election is important, too, and I know you're being targeted, but you were the first person I called when the bill came out. I said, Senator, am I reading this correctly? And you said, yes, you're reading it correctly. But it's sad, the fact that they didn't want the people to know the details, that speaks volumes about the current leadership. Good for people like you in the Senate that hold them accountable. Ted Cruz, thank you, sir.
Republican leadership wanted to hide it from you and from the American people, and I appreciate your pointing out.
Unreal.
Chuck Schumer and George Soros are coming after me hard, so I want to encourage folks, go to tedcruz.org. I need your help. We're going to fight to defend Texas and defend...
Don Ricardo Salinas Pliego, como se hace llamar, el dueño de Electra, de canales de televisión y una inmensidad de empresas, que incluso defendió a los pandilleros de El Salvador, de la Mara Salvatrucha, quienes le ayudaban a lavar dinero para sus negocios. Pues él se divierte mientras el país está vuelto una tragedia. Pero eso sí, él tiene una gran cantidad de amigos en el gobierno de la 4T y se jacta de que no va a pagar los impuestos que debe y que sus empresas son poderosas a grado tal de que pues él puede pasearse y divertirse en sus casas de Estados Unidos mientras el pueblo de México está sin agua, con hambre, sin medicinas y deseoso de justicia y libertad. ¡Qué lástima! Este es el México de los traidores. Ricardo Salinas Pliego es uno de los principales traidores, junto con Emilio Azcárraga Gallín y una gran cantidad. No participen de sus negocios, no vean sus canales, boicotéenlos y no compren los productos que en ellos se anuncian. Gracias.
Durán Rosillo te saluda y los saluda a todos ustedes, su amiga María Celeste Raraz, para invitarlos a que se suscriban a mi canal de YouTube, María Celeste Raraz, tal como mi nombre, donde les informo todas las semanas sobre entrevistas que tienen un tema que ayuda a mejorarnos como personas y de paso son interesantes. Las pueden encontrar en mi canal de YouTube, así que los espero. Y se suscriben gratis.
Escuchaste el análisis de la noticia, transparente como el agua, con el periodista Francisco Durán Rosillo.